Hello there. This is Gina Costigan with 50 and Fabulous, what you've learned through the trenches, sponsored by Main Street Mortgage. And I'm so excited to have my friend, Miss Cami Engel.
Hello.
Hello. Cami Engel is the founder and owner of Sacred Mind Coaching. Just by reading and really getting to know her and just talking to her through some events we've had and through some networking groups and just in my office, just in the last half hour, I've learned so much about her, and I'm so intrigued to get to really know her. And I think I'm just honored today to have her in the studio and to be able to really express her practice, and she helps people, and I'm just absolutely honored and excited just to dive in and get to know Cami even on a deeper level.
Thank you so much.
Not only do you have a wonderful career, you have 2 adult children.
I do. I have a boy who's 31 and my daughter's 33, pregnant. I'm going to be a new grandma.
Yes, that's so amazing. I can't wait till I get to say that.
Super excited. They're incredible. They're just, all of our children to us are incredible, but they are my incredibles.
Right, of course. They're usually our biggest success, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And you're in a nice, healthy relationship.
I am. I've been in a relationship for a year and a half. Very, very respectful, beautiful, healthy relationship.
Yeah, I think that's one of the ways, too, because we have a lot of mutual friends that we've been at events at, and just getting to know you about a month ago and sitting out in that heat, we were all dying.
We were melting.
We were melting. But even through the fun and the good times that we've had, also, I've had a chance to read about you in a magazine that you were just in.
Yes.
And that just came out Friday. Was it Friday?
Yes, Bold Magazine. I did the article or the interview in April, and it just came out, and it was just
gorgeous.
It was amazing. It was just so beautiful to be a part of that.
Well, I'm going to stop for a second. We're just going to start on that. Why don't you tell me a little bit about the magazine, what the interview was about, how they contacted you?
It was my first time ever doing an interview like that. So they just reached out. They said someone had spoke about my coaching to them, and they were looking for coaches that were authentic and very compassionate. They were looking for empathy and compassionate. And we spoke, and they were like, "You are the one." And we just went in. It was purely just not rehearsed, which was beautiful. Like this, it was just. This is me, authentic me. This is the way I coach, and this is the way I live my life. The questions were beautiful, very real, and it was beautiful, and it was Bold Magazine, and it was amazing. And they do a lot about women.
That was the first time, to be honest with you. I had read an article through them, so I saw it, and I was so excited for you. Just even in the half hour in my office, and you were speaking to my partner and my work husband, I should say, John Millette, and he's done a lot of semantic work, and I just saw the way he was present with you, and I know him in a business sense too, just talking to you, how you guys connected, and you really explained yourself, you were present, and I think that is so amazing. Not everyone can truly do that, that's for sure.
I believe presence is the number one thing that we get to practice every day, because there's so many missed beautiful opportunities when we're thinking of 5,000. I got to do this, but if we just be present, this happens. Magic happens.
And I think being a single parent and working and being a good daughter, good mom, whatever you may have to be, it is hard to stay present because your phone's. It's hard. I feel like my brain's a ping pong ball sometimes, and I have to just write it down and just step back and say, okay, I can only do this today. I can only do this tomorrow.
And it's about really checking in with yourself. That's how we practice presence.
Yeah.
Going, oh my God, I have all these things on my plate. How do I just back up for a minute? Because I need to check in where I'm at right now. And that's truly when the growth starts to happen, and you become open, and then there's different opportunities that are available for you.
And that is so true. That is so true. Because if you're the ping pong ball, you really don't get as much done as if you just concentrated on certain things.
Absolutely. And if you when we think of it as a ping pong ball, it comes right back at you, right?
Oh, it does. Usually, and I miss something.
Right.
I've been good at missing a few things lately, so I'm like, oh, the ping pong ball is not doing so well. And it used to be called multitasking. I'm calling it a ping pong ball.
Yep.
You have quite a journey to how you became an ontological coach. I know you had some hardships. You did battle throat cancer, and that was a profound time where you said, I got to really self-check and just get in touch with myself.
Yeah,
take care of yourself.
I was struggling a lot and found out it was cancer, and they removed the whole thyroid. And I knew nothing about it. I didn't even know what the thyroid did. Right. And when I learned that it controlled everything, mainly your moods and hair and everything, skin,
weight gain, weight loss.
Yeah, it was a battle for a year. My emotions were like, I wasn't even myself. I got through that, and then I just decided, I was in another business at the time, and I decided we had a trip to go to Asia.
I remember
me
you
and my
saying that.
employee. And we went, and through that, and everywhere else I traveled, I just love stories. I love sitting with people and listening, because as we were just talking about documentaries, we love, right?
Yeah.
And you hear someone's story, it's like you put on a different pair of glasses all of a sudden. Yeah, and from there, I just thought, I get to own my own business and help as many people in the world that I can.
Yeah, and learning and educating yourself, which you've done too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just amazing to me, everything that you've embarked and overcame,
Thank
and
you.
especially with cancer. And you're so true, because stuffing all these emotions, putting that smile on your face, and everything's perfect, and I can keep going. I was in the best shape of my life. I ran like a 15K marathon, and then bam, 5 months later, I had 7 seizures, and then along 160, the worst year of my life. And that was just, they couldn't figure out one thing. I didn't have it in my family. I didn't hit my head. It was stress.
Yeah.
Ended up being an adult onset due to stress.
Yeah, because if you don't choose to stop, it'll stop for you.
Oh,
your body
your body.
It just will happen.
Yep. No, and it truly does. My body was done, and it was tired. And I guess at that point, even though I thought, I'm like, it was 10 years ago, I would have said, yeah, I get this. But
Right.
I'm so much, I thought I had moved on, but mentally, I was still in that spot.
Of course.
And I was still stuffed.
Yeah, and thank God
I had
you're
not,
healthy now.
Yeah, much healthier and medicated from the seizures.
And I think it also with both of us, one of the ththings I coach a lot on is being present and because one of the things about ontology that it's all about is truly being, not doing. So we, are born into a world of doing. If I do this, if I do this, and so that we don't even realize what it's doing to our system, to our mind, to everything. And sometimes, when you're just sitting quiet, you're like, oh my God, this is so nice. I don't do this often, right? And that's a practice that should
I've
be
had to
done every
learn
day.
to be present with myself and be okay with just being alone.
Yeah.
I've really had to learn that in this last year. Even though I have friends that come over, I have a roommate and now my best friend, and it's all amazing, but we all have our different schedules. But it's like I've learned to be alone, and it's okay.
And
I
that's
kind
so
of like
beautiful.
it. And
right?
I kind of check out. And I was talking to someone just recently. He was going through the same thing. He's like, don't you love it? I'm like, I think so.
There's so much empowerment, right? When we know the difference of being alone and being lonely.
Yes. And that is a big thing. That is a big thing, is most definitely is being, that's so true. Being alone and being lonely are two different things, for sure.
Because it's cross paths with, a lot of if we're alone, we're lonely, what are we going to do? And sometimes there's so much in just being. Like, I get to watch what I want. I get to do what I want.
Right.
I can just sit here.
At first I was like trying to stay busy. And I'm like, I'm just tired. I'm just going to do nothing and watch a movie and chill out and eat a popsicle if I want,
Yeah, exactly. I love popsicles.
Me too. I do too. Okay, so how do you become interested in ontological coaching, and what led you to your career? So we've kind of touched on it a
so I
little
went
bit.
through self-development work. I've been in self-development, continue to still tap in it. So one of the things with me, which I'll lead right into that, is I wanted to be a student in everything. I never believed that I would learn everything from books. It had to come, there's a heart penetration I talk about, right? The heart space. It needed to come from here. I needed to experience it. Although your experience is different than mine, I wanted to go in as a student and take what I learn, and then also I volunteer as well for staffing or coaching with them. So that's how I really got on. I was in self-development work for a very long time, still dabble, as I said, and then I heard about ontology. Ontology is the language with yourself and others, the emotions, having different relationships. People say, I'm always angry. It's okay. We need anger, but we need healthy anger. So it's about having a relationship with every single one of our emotions. They're not outside of us, they're us, right? That's what makes us a perfect masterpiece. And then the action that we take. And ontology has a lot to do with somatic as well, which is beautiful.
And somatic is you said the throat.
The feeling within the body, how you feel, how you
feel.
Being in touch with yourself truly on a different level.
Wow, I'm learning more and more today. Okay, what was the transition like from working in a franchise? Because you had a big franchise to becoming an ontological coach.
I don't know that there was a big transition, because even when I first opened my franchise in partnership through marriage at 21,
oh my God.
I had
that was a lot at 21.
Hundreds of employees under me. So it was coaching. It wasn't
management and coaching.
It wasn't the coaching now. You learn the code of ethics and you go through school and graduate. But at that time, every moment somebody was in my office crying and this and that. And I was always that go-to person, even when I was a child. I was always that go-to person where people would come to me. I started to coach on retail and design and things. I was always dabbling in some sort of coaching people to be mindful of what their environment and what's going on. And
That's amazing, though, that you started at 21 years old, though. You already knew. I mean, you had a big job as it is, but you were the go-to person.
Yes, always.
And, sometimes people that always leave the door open and listen are the ones that are the go-to people. What are some common challenges your clients have faced, and how do you help them overcome these challenges?
I think one of the most common, there's a couple, but one that comes to mind the most is when someone says to me, how do I learn to love myself? Mm-hmm. Because that's a big one, right? We all have stories. We've all been hurt. We're all guarded, right? There's all of that stuff that we call triggers. Mm-hmm. There's no book on that. It's truly finding what makes you happy. The strongest key to it all is to keep practicing. And we forget. It's like when we take medicine, we're like, oh, we don't need that anymore, right? And we get sick again or something like that. Mm-hmm. Or we exercise, we look great. And then we stop for a month and we're like, what's happening, right? So it's more about practicing to love myself. And what does that look like? Because what loving me is going to be different than you loving you, right? I touched on it when I wrote you my bio about animals. They bring softness, they bring gentle. I remember around 6 years old, I remember saying, okay, somehow people in the world get to treat each other this gentle and kind, the way we treat our animals that we love, that become family.
They do.
Right?
People do treat their animals so sweet, loving,
Correct.
and they can be horrible to each other in a relationship, but they're sweet to their animal.
Yeah, so I was always, and still am, I lead from such kindness and gentleness. Yes, I have my days like everyone else, but that is my first go-to is gentleness. And I believe that even when I coach couples or individuals, it's so about just being gentle. Just first being gentle with yourself, especially if you're having a hard day. Like, give yourself some grace.
Yeah, take a break.
Yeah.
I say you got to recharge.
Yeah.
You got to reboot.
Yeah, but gentleness is definitely
I can see that, your core.
My core. It is what guides me through life, for sure.
And you definitely portray that. And
Thank you.
I learned, even when you were talking to John earlier, too, about a relationship and the advice you'd given a client, or you said when you're talking to women and they want to know how to work with their relationships, and they have all these checks and the boxes that they want from their partner, but they have to have those boxes filled within themselves and love themselves. So I'm sitting in my office going, all these boxes, okay, what box don't I have? I'm like, there's a few boxes I need to work on for myself. So thank you. I got some therapy today.
I love it.
I got a lot of therapy today. This has been really good. So I'm going to work on some of those before I can do that.
Great. I love that.
How can ontological coaching assist someone in their professional development?
Like, say we do a seminar, right? And in our mind, we get these negative thoughts that come in sometimes. It's really about the language with yourself and going, these people are showing up because they want to learn from me, right? It's the switch, it's the shift of the language. And then it's really coming in touch with your emotion of like, okay, am I nervous? What am I feeling? Okay, you're there. I'm a little nervous. Don't know this group yet, or whatever it may be. It's almost turning yourself inside out and saying, okay, I get to really, really center myself right now and see where I'm at. And then I can start and step into something new, because you can't step into something new from the past or the future.
Right.
So it's like right here, ground myself, go through, which I have which is somatic and ontology, which is my language, what lays here, the emotion and the action I'm going to take. So when I'm going into something personal or professional, I'm constantly going, okay, what am I telling myself right now? Am I in tune with my emotions, and what action do I want to take? And that will lead you everywhere you want to go, professional or personal in life.
And that's exactly what you do in your coaching and your teaching.
It also brings you present.
You are now working at a rehab center.
Yes, it is.
You were so excited when I saw you, and you just started a couple weeks back.
Yeah, I've been wanting to do that for so long. I'm a group counselor, and I have the pleasure to meet the most extraordinary people, and I love it. For me, it's just learning. It was really interesting because I was telling my partner that last week I went in, they were so excited to see me, and it felt so nice, because when new, they're kind of checking you out, like, what do you know, and things like that. But it was really cool, and I thought, I'm not even doing anything special. I'm just being me, and they're comforted, and now they're opening up.
But they feel at
safe.
ease, they're comfort, and they're safe.
Yeah,
that's a huge thing. They're using because they've had issues.
Of course.
And they're so guarded.
Yeah.
And they need to feel safe, and they need someone they can trust. So I knew you'd be great when you told me you were going to do that.
I'm really excited. I always come back to my word, and that's gentleness. They're humans. Kindness. They've all been through something. We all have been through something. Just take a moment and listen to someone's story, and you won't believe what you'll learn.
It's true. Mm-hmm. It's true. And they always say being kind is free.
Yeah.
So there's nothing better than free, right? What advice do you have for individuals looking to improve their self-awareness and emotional intelligence?
Listen to podcasts and read things that you love and educate yourself on the things you're interested in. This is the trick. Sometimes someone will say, did you read the book? It's really good. But it's something you might not even be interested in. Right.
You're not going to read it.
Right. You're not going to read it.
Or you get bored in a minute.
So find your interest. If it's self-development, whatever kind of work it may be, learning about something that you really have passion for, that enhances everything. Audible, however it is. If you're not someone that reads books, listen to an Audible. Write yourself letters. It's a big thing I do with my clients. Write yourself letters. Write the inner child, who you were at 6, and write who you are now. And start to learn the things that you really like. I have a lot of clients that go, my kids, I'm an empty nester. I don't even know what I want.
Right.
And we explore. This isn't ending the fact that you're a mom. You're still a mom. You're going to have this most beautiful relationship, right? And so what do you get to do in this time that you're alone? So I always believe in find what your education is. Like, I'm not someone to pick up a book, but I'm someone that likes Audible, right? Or I love documentaries. So it's like learn through that. Whatever it is your passion is, and that's what's going to help you grow into a different level.
And so true. If you're going to read, you have to want to and be interested in the topic. Being an empty nester, you brought up a good point, because I became one. I was telling you in November, even though I had a roommate, and then my best friend just moved a week ago. My roommate's in Europe for a month and enjoying herself. It's different because I'm still trying to figure out. I've been a mom and so involved in their lives, and I still am on the daily, but it's different. They both have their relationships, and one will be engaged shortly, and my other daughter's married. But it's kind of finding what I want to do.
Yeah, and a lot of times the different, and this comes into ontology, right? The language. We can switch one word. The different sometimes feels heavy, and like I'm still kind of searching and I can't find it. But the different could mean something really cool. It could be almost like, I'm going to switch this different to something positive. I get more facials. I get to go work out with my friends. Right. I get to have more dinners, whatever that looks like. It's the mindset. When we switch it, we just switch the meaning of a word.
Yeah,
it's
self-care. I've done a lot of really fun self-care. Right. Because I'm like, I can. I'm just like, you know what, I'm going to do this weekend. I'm going to do some self-care.
And that was so beautiful what you just said, I can. And that's another thing is when we even switch, I have to do this versus I get to do this. In the have to, there's a burden, there's a heaviness, right?
Oh, for sure.
In the get to,
the responsibilities too.
Correct.
The responsibilities.
And then I get to do this. I'm like, oh, okay, what do I get to do today? And it's literally, and that's why I love ontology so much, because it's like I just changed one word in my mind, and all of a sudden, like my whole mood changed.
Right. And it's even so much as going to the grocery store. I'm like, I could get away with a water and a piece of cheese if I really want.
Right.
Or I could go to the store because I'm being lazy tonight. It's just different. It's a different feeling. And yes, it's a little bit of a freedom. Oh, I can do this. But there is that heaviness sometimes.
Sure.
And I'm still in that point where I really want to find what I want to do. Do I want to travel more? Of course I do. But I'm working a lot. So I'm doing that too. But you have to figure out what you're going to do in your travels. And now I know I'm going to have a wedding coming up. So that'll be...
Congratulations.
Thank you. That'll be, a little costly, I'm sure. But so that'll be a big part of my next year and a half. But I think that with all that said, you have to find out who you are. And that takes time. And I'm 54 years old. I'm just starting to really figure out who I am.
One of the tools I give my clients is when you want to know who you are, sit in front of the mirror. Just sit in front of the mirror, sometimes naked. I hate to say that because some people don't want to hear that. But it's true. We get to love our bodies, right? In every stage we're in life. Sit in front of the mirror and write what you see about yourself in that moment.
Really?
Yeah, that's true presence.
I haven't done that one.
Yeah.
Because that might be a little scary, but that's something that makes sense though.
It really is. I mean, I want to learn. Someone wants to learn to be present more. And learn about yourself more. Learn that day, because we evolve every day, right? The growth is beautiful.
And if they say if you look good, you feel good.
Yeah.
But you really have to feel good, I think, to look good. Because you can look great and have a frown on your face and be miserable.
Of course.
But look beautiful. And that to me is not looking good. That's
right. And you've seen many
commiserate.
Women, right. And many women that are gorgeous and vibrant, but there's so much chaos going on. And you're like, I don't know
ping
why I
pong
can't
ball.
connect with her, right?
Yeah.
You know, or him, I should say. I shouldn't just say women. But yeah, it's really true. It's a really unbelievable tool. And it's funny, when I've given it to clients, a lot of them have said the same.
Like, really?
I don't want to see myself. But why? It's acceptance. It's emotional
acceptance.
acceptance with yourself.
I like that.
Yeah.
I'm learning. This has just been so great. It is true. You have to learn to love yourself.
Yeah.
And I guess in all areas, not just who you are, what you've done, and raising your children and having your careers and blah, 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 but loving your body, I guess, is
loving
one.
you from yourself. It's not just the outside, right?
Right.
Because when I say look in the mirror a lot,
Right.
that's where we go.
And that's the first time I said, wow,
Yeah.
I got to write that down. That's interesting. What would you say right now in your coaching industry, some of the trends that you've seen or that you're noticing? Are people headed towards more of the coaching that you're doing, or ontology?
So there is a big group of ontological coaches. I don't think it's as popular as it should be,
Right.
because there's so much beauty in it. I think it is one of the coaching realms that really you can learn to use in your personal and your professional. Not that you can't with other coaching situations, but I love ontology. And so I also am seeing a lot of therapists that are now becoming coaches, or both practices, because coaching doesn't have as many rules as therapy with certain things. But I also have found that with coaching, it's kind of like you get to be also really careful, because there's been a lot of coaches that think they give great advice, and sometimes it can hurt someone, because what's best for me isn't best for you, right? So I personally don't go into sessions giving advice, right? I listen, I do active listening, I hear, I read the body, I see where they're at. And so I think what I'm seeing a lot is the coaching career is so huge that everybody wants to be a coach. And that's beautiful. And I think there's someone for everyone. But I also think that learning the code of ethics and going through school, it's not about what you're learning in the books. It's about learning to be a coach, be a real professional coach, to be able to help somebody if it's business, whatever kind of coaching you're doing. But being present to that than just someone that's giving advice, because I've seen it a lot. Yeah.
So do you work with clients with marital issues? Or so you do
So
that?
I work virtually. And I work with...
I was going to say, tell us about, before we have to, transition into ending this wonderful podcast, because I've enjoyed this so much.
Thank
I've
you.
learned so much.
I've enjoyed being with you.
Tell me about, who you work with and who you
So
can
I work virtually. I work individuals and couples.
Okay.
I work 18 and over.
Okay.
Okay. I work mostly with mental health, depression, anxiety. I've been working with a lot of couples lately, just with one of them feeling emasculated, one of them feeling that they don't communicate anymore, they don't know how to communicate, things like that. So I don't put myself in a box. I'm not just saying I'm just a transformational coach, because I know that all my education and my experiences, I can help a lot of people.
Right.
So, but if it's not for me, I am the number one to refer on social media to somebody else, and they see it all the time. They're like, oh my God, thank you, knowing what I do. And I'm still willing to do that. I'm not going to take on any client that I feel that I cannot help them just because it's a client. Right. So I'm very, that's where my integrity lies. Very, there's no negotiation there.
Right.
So, I work virtually, and I work with moms, empty nesters, going through divorces, couples having a hard time, couples trying to find intimacy, kids that have got out of college, and young adults, I should say, and went to school for something, and all of a sudden
they
it's
have no idea what they
changed,
want to
and,
do. Yeah.
All kinds of things like that. And one of the things about parenting that I love with the kids is, when moms come to me, is a really understanding your children as far as an introvert and an extrovert. We don't take all the time to do that, and they always go, oh my God, they're so different. Right? And so if one is an extrovert, one's an introvert, they're going to hear you, and the communication is going to be completely different.
Right.
So I work with moms a lot on that.
On helping them.
Of understanding, if it's an extrovert, they're going to want fun, they're going to want excitement, they're going to want some sort of different kind of conversation, because they're going to get bored really quick. If it's an introvert, it's going to be quiet and soft and gentle. And
I
I've
have
helped
both.
a lot of moms that way.
Yeah. Most definitely.
Yeah.
I can see that. I can see and I can see as the older they get, they become into their more personalities. But like you said, you always get one or the, you
Yeah.
always have two, one that's this way and one that's that way. And it's for how we have to figure out how we cope with them.
Yeah, and also learning that we learn from them.
Oh gosh,
Like, I
I've
say
learned
that to
so
my
much
kids,
from being,
right?
from my daughters to how
Yeah.
I'm a mother.
Yeah.
And, how things are so different now, but yet, just seeing them mature into their world and becoming I just say both of them are great humans, because people always say, your daughters are so beautiful. I'm like, no, that's on the outside.
Right.
They're beautiful, great humans.
And that's beautiful.
And that is the beautiful
Yeah.
part. Yeah. So that makes me happy. So I can say, I'm calling it a day now.
Well, you've done a great
Go-
job.
Well,
so
thanks.
it's
You have too.
beautiful. Thank
Then you get to
Thank
be.
you.
When is the baby due?
Baby's due November 7th.
Very cool.
Yeah, baby
Very-
Benny. I'm super
Baby
excited.
Benny. That's so cute.
It's,
so
he's
cute.
just, I can't wait.
Oh, I can't wait
Yeah.
for you. Well, thank you, Cammie. It has
Thank
been
you.
a wonderful and informative podcast. I've learned from the minute you walked in today and our times together outside of my office. I hope to get to work with you more.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, honor, and to be here, and thank you for trusting me.